Hi, everyone. So excited to have you here for another amazing conversation with one of our guests, and this time a speaker from the Women Thrive Summit. Today, we're talking about why healing is an ever evolving journey. And if you've ever done any healing or have done any spiritual work, you know that it ever is truly evolving. So, today's guest is Lorna Jane. Hi, Lorna. How are you today?
I'm really good, thank you. So excited to be here.
Good to see your smiley face. So, I want to introduce you to Lorna. She is such a powerhouse, a lady. She's an energy expert, intuitive healer, Reiki master teacher, an advanced Theta practitioner, and NLP mindset coach for high level leaders and healers. So, Lorna Jane has been in business for over 9 years and has certified and trained in various coaching and healing modalities, which gives her an in depth knowledge and understanding of the mind, body, and soul connection. And today we're talking about why healing is ever evolving journey to freedom. And I'm sure we're going to get into some juicy conversations. So make sure you leave a comment in the chat right now. Let me know where in the world you're joining from. And yeah, where are you watching us from today? Lorna, well, welcome to today's live with me.
So excited. Thank you so much.
Tell us a little bit more about your journey, how you got to where you are today in doing this spiritual and healing work.
Oh gosh, that is a really long story. So I actually came across the world of healing when I was signed off work. This was literally 9 years ago. So I was a senior manager in a construction job. I had a very high pressurized role. And I went through a very stressful job. I went through a very stressful time in my job, and I started to get heart palpitations. And at the time, I didn't realize what they were. And I went to have a massage and I fainted. And basically, cut a long story short, I got referred to an osteopath. They told me that my soul was levitating out of my body. And I just rapidly went downhill. I ended up having a week off work with what I thought was a bad back. 1 week led to a month, 1 month led to 4 months, 6 months, and eventually I was signed off work with a lot of physical and mental and emotional health conditions. And they diagnosed me with acute anxiety and stress. And that was really the very, very beginning and start of my spiritual journey. And I went to a spiritual church, and it was just a process of unraveling, a process of self discovery. I didn't sort of wake up one day and say, I'm going to do this. I just followed the breadcrumbs and just explored with curiosity, but how is this happening? How can I benefit myself? How did I get into this situation? And I had to unpick a lot of things that had happened in the years previous to that point, and actually go backwards and look at, well, how can I now choose to be different, and how can I think different, and how can I heal some of these things? Because I'll be honest, before I stepped into this journey, I had a bit of a blame culture. I thought everybody was wrong apart from me. I thought I wasn't really willing to look at myself, but I had no choice to have this mirror placed in front of me and say, no, no, you need to actually look at yourself. And
Mm.
so that's really how I got into this journey. I just met a lady one day and she told me about healing, and I'd already started to listen to a couple of meditations and things like that. And then that's where it first evolved.
Wow. And I think, something you said that you had to not only start from where you were in your healing journey, but really look backwards. And I do think that looking back at the history always has clues for where we are today, because all of our choices or some of the things that we've been through in our lives leads to the very point where we are today.
Yeah.
So, in terms of healing, where do we begin? This is such an amazing and beautiful conversation to be having, as healing is a journey. And I know you've been on your own journey,
Mm.
so much to explore, so much to unpick there. Where do we begin?
I think it can be a very overwhelming journey. It's like starting to learn how to swim and having a goal to be an Olympic, champion. You need to just break it down into small steps and just have an end goal. But with healing, there isn't really a final destination other than you want to be better than who you were yesterday, and you want to constantly evolve. And energy is fluid, so who you were a year ago is not necessarily who you're going to be a year from now. And I think the key thing with healing is just to honor where you're at right now and just do with what feels an alignment in your soul. A lot of people discover healing at a time in their life where they're extremely disconnected, and that's really where I first entered the gateway of healing. And it just unearthed like a whole new world, terminology like anxiety and trauma, and it was really unheard of 9 years ago. And I was hospitalized and I lost the lining of my womb, and I remember them saying to me in the doctor's surgery, "You've got anxiety." And I remember looking into the eyes of this doctor saying, "Okay, and that means..." And you think now, 9 years on, it's so freely spoken about. But back then, I really didn't have any idea, and we didn't really have the knowledge and the tools like now.
I feel that same. I feel like, those times in my life where I went through some things and I didn't know there was help available. No one was speaking about it. And now it's much more common, but it certainly can feel very, very lonely when you're in that situation.
It really can. I think community is key. And actually nowadays, it was only, I brought my business online in 2018, way before the pandemic. And I was really, probably one of the healers, the first healers within my network ever to do it online. And I remember getting a lot of backlash from people telling me that it's not possible to do this online. And now look at how it's evolved just in 4 years. So things are continually moving, and just as technology evolves, we have to evolve as well. So in terms of going back to your question about where you start, I think the key thing is just to acknowledge where you're at and just move with what you're presented with at the time. It's not a linear process. My background was project management. Everything had to be rigid and set and detailed. And if you forgot anything in the process, my God, would you know about it? Because you'd be hit with massive £1 million fines from contractors. So you couldn't afford to miss a step out. So I've really had to adjust my thinking and be very fluid and really disconnect from my head and align more with my heart. And that is a huge transition because we're born as intuitives, we're born feelers, we are all intuitive. But somewhere along the way, after the age of 7, when we start to adopt the beliefs and we kind of go out into the world, we really start to develop our beliefs and our values, and that really is formed from your external environment. And so what I see with my clients is now from about 30 and 40, we start to challenge how we think, and we start to challenge. And then now we're starting to go back to who we were way before our teenager years, and we want to come back into our heart. So there is a lot. You think of every memory, every experience, everything you've ever gone through holds an emotion. So there's a lot to process there.
And do you think that life has to shake us up? Because a lot of the times the healing journey starts at the point of a shake-up, of a breakup, or some kind of big incident in our lives that, as you say, you had the mirror placed in front of you. Hey, Lorna, you got to look at this.
Yeah.
Actually need to wait for this to happen? Or can we start our healing journey without having to go through massive heartache?
No, I think the process of like preemption is amazing, so everybody will benefit from healing. You don't have to wait. And it's almost like we have this conditioning, certainly in the UK, where we wait until we're ill and then we go to the chemist and we start stocking up on Sudafed and medication and things like that. And it's kind of back to front. You don't need to wait to be ill before you go and get healing. Really, it's part of your day-to-day integration to live a healthy lifestyle. You know, you're really, if you think every single day you're a sponge, absorbing the collective energy, other people's feelings, emotions, you're taking that on. Healing is a process of clearing and cleansing. It's like emptying the garbage bin. So if you're walking around with banana skins and potato peels and that all within your field, it's just going to get clogged. Your drain's going to get blocked and nothing's going to be able to go through. So you don't need to wait for the drain to be blocked before you call the plumber out, right? You have to make sure that you're continually clearing it, so you're a clear channel. If a weird analogy, but
yeah, and we spoke just before we came on to live that people do some kind of practice once or twice a year and then they expect results. It's like as if going to a gym once, twice a year and then you're expecting to have a six-pack. It's like that's why we're talking today about it's a journey and you've got to practice in order to reap the benefits. And we'll talk about the benefits in a moment. But what do you say? What are the main practices that people could get into in order to start their journey of the healing?
I think one of the game changers for me, and something you said before, is setting your intention. So before you do anything is actually, and that's working with your personal energy. You know, I think sometimes we're so quick to just jump out of bed in the morning, get in the car, or, you know, jump in our office and smash out the to-do list, and almost like we're going to get a pat on the back because we're so busy, and we actually disconnect from ourselves. So the most important thing you can do is to connect to yourself and source, you know, because you are a spiritual creature. We all are. So actually just bringing yourself back into your body and finding that inner connection. And that's a huge difference of you being triggered or reacting in a low vibration or a higher vibration. There have been many days where I've, you know, unwillingly agreed to calls too early in the morning, and then I've read an email and I haven't done my daily practices and I've reacted in a way that I'm not proud of. And yet if I take some time for me in the morning, and my daily practices, they vary. You know, I'm not someone that needs a strict routine. I have a toolbox that I go to depending on how I feel. So that can be clearing my energy, giving myself healing. It can be a meditation. Sometimes if it's sunny here in Spain, I want to be up and out on the beach. You know, I don't want to be hanging around inside. And I, you know, have a little chat to the sea and just center myself. And I think that makes a massive difference. And it's just bringing all that energy back to you. And then you can give energy to the others. It's just refocusing.
And as I say, we live in such a busy world, and a lot of the times we're just so reactive, and that's not putting yourself first. And I think when you put yourself first, your day starts differently, and you have more strength and capacity to deal with things that perhaps might get thrown at you throughout the day. What are the benefits of going through inner healing or practicing these sort of energy modalities on a regular basis?
Well, there's so many benefits. I mean, a lot of the reasons and how I first got into this was because of poor physical health and mental health and emotional health. And that's where I see a lot of my clients tend to join their healing process when things start to manifest in the physical. And healing is really just moving energy. That's really what healing is. A lot of people think it's a bit woo-woo. It's just moving energy, shifting vibrations, shifting vibrational frequency. And so the benefits is that you can change your mood. You don't have to be a victim to how you're feeling on that day. You know, you have the power, and it's a very empowering process. So you know that, okay, if you are triggered in that moment, you can alchemize anything. If you feel fearful of making a decision, you don't have to sit on that fear for days or weeks or months. You can literally say, I'm going to use this process. I'm going to look at this in the face. I'm going to look at where it comes from. You know, why am I feeling this way? And I'm going to alchemize it. I'm going to clear it. I'm going to understand why that's coming up. And I'm going to move forward in my journey. And every time that you do that with courage, you will shift your emotions, and you'll find that you'll be faced with lesser opportunities, excuse me, where you feel fearful. And that's really the journey of evolution. If I look at who I was 10 years ago, you know, I had a lot of negative thoughts, a lot of negative thoughts. When they do come up now, I know how to move them. So I think the huge benefit for me is you don't have to wait until it starts to manifest into the physical. You know, you can really clear your emotions, and you can start to empower yourself to think clearer, to think more positive. And when you operate in that vibration, you're just a magnet for success. You know, if you can start practicing higher positive thoughts and emitting higher emotions, you attract from who you are within. So it improves your physical health, your mental health, your emotional health.
I love that. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. And it's so important because a lot of people feel like, oh, this is too woo-woo, or like, why do I need it? Or my world has to crumble for me to start looking for solutions. But this makes it just makes so much sense that, you know what, we can be much more happier, aligned, more empowered, and live our life in a healthy way, create a healthy environment around ourselves so we can be a better person for ourselves and others around us. And that's just
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally believe in that.
so for those of you watching us live, I see quite a few people watching us live. Perhaps you're feeling like, oh, I'm not sure what to ask or how to get engaged in this conversation. Please feel free to ask our guest Lorna about anything to do with healing, energy work, spiritual work, Reiki. I mean, she wears a lot of hats, and she is a certified healer. So I'm sure you can ask a lot of fantastic questions from Lorna. And even if you're watching this on replay, feel free to ask a question in the chat, and we will come back and answer them as well. So Lorna, you are one of our speakers at the upcoming Women Thrive Summit, which is our annual women empowerment event happening in March. What are you speaking on our stage?
I was so excited. So I'm going to be talking all about why energy alignment is the secret success tool in your business. So I'm really excited to be sharing that. I think one of the common myths is that energy alignment is just something for your personal life, and we almost detach it from our business. But you know, who you are mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually massively impacts your business. And there's definitely been blips within my business when I've not felt in alignment, and they go hand in hand. So I'm really here to kind of share my voice and really raise awareness as to the importance of how the more that you commit and devote to your healing and your evolution, the more that your business will be able to expand as well. They go hand in hand together. So that's what I'm going to be talking about.
I love that. So if you haven't registered for your summit ticket, head over to womenthrivesummit.com, register for your spot at the upcoming Women Thrive Summit. We have nearly 50 amazing speakers from all around the world covering things like healing, energy work, spirituality, confidence, mindset, as well as very practical and actionable things like business planning, marketing, visibility, personal branding, and many, many other things. We take a truly holistic approach to business and life because I believe without healing, without the inner work and your personal development, we would struggle to have successful businesses. So this is not just about the business, or this isn't just about the personal development. It's a mixture of both, and you get to connect with so many amazing women from all around the world. And also make sure you save your spot for Lorna's talk, because I think it's going to be beautiful. Thank you, Lorna.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's been amazing. Thank you.
If there was one last parting thought you could leave with someone who's perhaps embarking on their healing journey, what would that be?
What I've just heard, I'm very clairvoyant, so sometimes I get information in my head, and what I just heard as you asked me that was, have the courage to step forwards. Have the courage to step forwards. Yeah, sometimes we allow fear to really paralyze us from actually moving through the very thing that becomes our biggest breakthrough and the biggest thing that's going to lead us to our legacy. So have that courage to step forwards, because what you get to see on the other side could be even greater to where you're at right now.
What a beautiful, beautiful message. And I think anything you want in life requires us to really step forward and claim it, because a lot of the times fear holds us back from the very thing that we're desiring. And all it requires, perhaps it doesn't even require so much. It just takes for you to step forward and step into your purpose. And this was just a beautiful way to end today's live. Lorna, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure to have you on our podcast, on our interview today.
You're so welcome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, everyone who's watching this. If you feel inspired, please feel free to leave a comment. Oh, before we go, Lorna, how do people get in touch with you if they wanted to follow up?
So you can come and find me on Facebook at Lorna Jane Lifestyle Balance. Or if you're on Instagram, you can come and find me at Lorna_Jane, Jayne. And then I do have a website at the moment. It's Lorna_Jayne, but it's under construction. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that should be ready soon.
Amazing. Well, I'm sure you'll be able to find Lorna, and if not, leave a comment and we will share details to connect with her. As I said, she's such a powerful healer and channeler of energy. And if you are embarking on your own inner healing, or even if you want to master some healing practices as well, I know, Lorna, you do some training for others looking to get into this energy work.
Yeah, amazing.
Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Please make sure you share this live with someone who you think that this could resonate with, or you just share it across your social media platforms. And we look forward to seeing you on another live, as well as at the Women Thrive Summit in March. Thank you for now. Take care.